going to bring it back to a neutral perspective, and we'll stop arguing about Celtic's terrible signings or outgoings. One question I think for both of you that was really insightful is going to be about Hearts, because of course Steven Naismith's been linked with the Millwall job. He's been doing absolutely brilliantly up for Hearts. Do you think actually is he the next big thing for Scottish football? Could he potentially be the next big manager out of Scotland to come to?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Why not?
I don't know if he could do it down in England. I don't know if he's got the temperament. I don't know. He's comfortable at Hearts. He's comfortable there. He knows the club. Certainly not yet, anyway. And Stephen might be the next couple of years good enough to go down there, but I don't know about now. He's got a purple patch because he knows the club inside out. He's got the players that are running for him, players that are doing well for him. You go down to England and they don't know you, and all of a sudden, who is this guy? And, what's he done? Down in England, they only know Celtic and Rangers, so he's not in one of it. He's not from one of them. I just don't know if it would. Listen, I might be totally wrong, but I just think at this moment in time, I don't think it would be the right move for Stephen to get down to England.
Well, Daniel, what about Ibrox? Because, of course, we know he's had a career at Rangers. Was that the point you were going to make?
Well, what I was going to say is an interesting one, but I think, and I don't mean this against Steven Naismith in any way, shape, or form. He's got something that the only maybe one other manager in the Premiership outside of Celtic Rangers has. He's got the best player in the country right now. He's got Lawrence Shankland, and who knows what's going to happen with him in the summer. I mean, I think I said in this podcast before that he has to go to the Euros. But Shankland has been magnificent, and he's getting better as well. Even he's not as young as he once was, but he's actually becoming a better footballer as well. Yeah. I think him being the Hearts captain has made him a better player. His goals have been massive. I mean, the goals, some of the goals he scored, his goal at Hibs in the derby in December was brilliant. Took his goal really well on Sunday against Celtic. I would be curious to see how he would manage without such an important player, without a talisman like that. I mean, it's also not helped Neil Warnock very much at Aberdeen with Bojan Majovski. Although granted, he called him, I think, the best striker he's ever worked with, which is probably true. Because I don't remember Warnock ever having a striker as good as that to any other team he's been at, by the way. But it's not helping Warnock much. But it'd be interesting to see. You bring up Rangers. I mean, certainly not in the next couple of years. I think Clement is going to be there for a while because Clement is not young himself either. Clement probably sees this as maybe the biggest job he can get, certainly realistically. Although, granted, I used to think that about Ange Postecoglou at Celtic, and that's obviously not the case. But people have even been talking about him in terms of the Liverpool job. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I also think that Rangers probably now, looking forward, probably want to be a bit more ambitious when it comes to appointing managers. I think that's why they went down the route they did with Clement, as someone who is from left field, who isn't as well known here. I think they tried to go for a known person in Michael Beale, and it backfired spectacularly. So I think that's the route they're going to go down in future.
Do you know what Clement's doing? He's just making things simple. He's not a tactical genius. I mean, you don't see them passing it across the back that we do. Because they're not comfortable doing it. So if you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. Yep. I mean, it didn't take Einstein to work that one out. If you're not comfortable, just don't do it. So that's what they're doing. You see them launching it, and you get a second ball. That's what they're doing. It's working.
Are you worried, Frank? Though, are you worried about their style? Are you worried that actually? Do you think that Naismith could have a say on whether? Because of course, as we know, Shankland has been heavily linked with going to Ibrox. Will Naismith have a say in that potentially about him staying at Hearts for the foreseeable future, or is actually his career to Ibrox likely to?
No disrespect to Hearts, but if an offer comes in for Rangers, Shankland will go there because he's a Rangers supporter. I think
the only thing that stops that from happening is how much it is.
Yeah.
I think Hearts at this point have every right to demand upwards of £5 million. I think they really do. And I think the record between Scottish clubs is still Scott Brown, I think, at 4.4 million. Mm-hmm. He goes for more than that if he goes to Rangers. He has to. And I would say the same about Celtic as well, by the way. And I would be, although I don't know if he quite fits into Celtic, I would still be very surprised if he's not on a list. Because I thought that about Majovski in December.
Yes.
Before the January window, both of those guys are up there. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a deal breaker for Naismith. I don't think he's got that power yet at Hearts.
No.
ultimately Hearts are a club which, you know, are run
I
very,
think
very well.
anyone's got the power over this Shankland. He'll just go. I know him. I know he's agent. He'll go when he's ready and where he wants. It doesn't matter if Naismith's the manager or not. I don't think that'll sway anyway, Lawrence. Especially if he goes to the Euros, comes on, scores a goal, man, it could be a lot better for him. You know, and that's what's liable to happen, because he's in that frame of form at the moment.
Absolutely,
like, go there, come off the bench, bang, goal, and all of a sudden people are going, "Who's this?" And then they look at his scoring charts, and he's one of the top goal scorers in Scotland.
He could also be a player that looks at the impact that Lewis Ferguson has had at Bologna, where he's the captain now.
I know.
He's
now you're talking.
been incredible, and he's going to go for big money to another team in Italy.
He's going to Juventus, apparently.
It looks like it's going to be that kind of club, isn't it? And it's going to be big money. So he might look at the same situation. I know he went to Belgium, didn't he? And it didn't quite work out. But he was at a different stage of his career. I think now, if he leaves, he's going to go and hit the ground running somewhere, and it'll be interesting to see where that is.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing I was concerned about. I was talking to somebody last week. If Callum doesn't get his finger out, you know, he could be pushing. Lewis could be pushing him.
Well, I've thought that as well. By the way, that's a really good point. If I'm Steve Clarke, I'm definitely thinking we maybe need to look at a different option, because you don't drop McGinn, you don't drop McTominay.
No.
But that other midfield space is definitely up for grabs right now.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.